Hello and welcome back to Xing, the Land Beyond. I'm Tom and this is my walkthrough series for this game. We opened all the gates here already, like in the last video. We achieved all the stuff in here, solved all the puzzles, got all the items here. I don't know if there's anything you can do with these items actually. I mean, you can fling them around and do stuff with them, but I don't know what for actually. You can also not return them. Oh, maybe there is something you can do. I haven't figured that out yet. But you can see there are two runes still missing. Like, as I said, there are 6 runes in each world. That's 24, and there are 26 altogether. But we only need 1 to enter here, so let's enter. Ah, there is another rune. That's good. I know where the last one is. So let's start here. This is basically no puzzling at all. It's just running through and listening to stories now. So we'll do that. Let me check the time first. Yeah, this is just listening to stories, and here we have a message also. Love comes in all shapes and sizes. So this is about love here. Catherine. So we will hear the story of Catherine in the Kiddie Paw Cottage. Basically, you just walk through the pass.
An old woman of 82, she gazed out from her dusty house towards the path to a bustling town, though here it was quiet as a mouse.
This does nothing for the story
There
itself.
were no mice in her yard, under the floorboards or inside, for it was also the loving home of 16 cats, all free to roam, and who were otherwise tossed aside.
So, yeah, first of all, there's no puzzling here at all. It's just following the path that is laid out for you and listening to these stories and messages, and that's it basically. Yeah. So, if you want to skip this video, go ahead. But the stories are sometimes also quite nice, actually. There's nothing here. There's also nothing you can do. Like, I mean, nothing.
She
else.
lost her family long ago, and took in a cat so soft of fur. She named him Lucky as she smiled. It brought her joy to hear him purr.
Catherine.
She rescued more from off the streets, from garbage piles and alleyways, and took them to her forest house, far from the town, where they could play.
Meow.
One day she heard a dreadful cry, coming from a nearby tree. She looked up to the branches high, and saw it was her own Lucky.
It's a bit bad now, like, I mean, the story is sort of muffled by the effects. I'm going to turn them down for a moment. Like this.
At 82 she climbed that tree, and saved her cat who made it down, but on the way her grip gave out, and she toppled to the ground. Some locals came to check on her, but her body was never seen, and if someone had cared to count, the cats now numbered 17.
So, Cam Cat. 9 lives? Wait, why do I get this achievement now? I did this achievement, I did this already. Okay, I was wondering what this achievement was, and like, I think there were 25% of people who had this already. I wondered how can so many people have this. I didn't figure out, because basically I got like I found all the runes and stuff, and that's pretty rare. And here you can also grab the things that you found there at the end of the story. Can I make this burn? No. And play around with it. Put it back. Sort of. But what to do with these? I don't know. Banana. There was an achievement called Banana. Maybe it has something to do with the monkeys, or I don't know. Let's just move on with the stories here. Let's see how long this takes. Roland. The Kingdom of DOLLE. I don't know. How did they come up with this name? I don't know. Like DOLLE, you might know that.
He saw injustice in this world, and witnessed countless violent crimes, and even carried many out, a product of his place and time.
like DOLLE is a German term, basically, what with this O and the 2 dots on top of it. You don't have this sound even. It's Ö. Ö. DOLLE.
The more he grew, the more he thought. Perhaps his family was wrong. The world was not his enemy. Causing pain did not make one strong. With this in mind he ran away, and vowed to use his strength for good, to make amends for his past sins by doing everything he could. He roamed about from town to town, making a living here and there, but never stayed for very long, just passing through like summer's air.
There is always room for change, okay?
He rescued those from unjust chains and fought against corrupted men, returning children to their homes before going back out again.
A river is made from many drops of water. Yeah.
Legends of a nameless hero swept through the countryside, as many followed in his steps, even long after he had died.
And we have the sword here. There must be a message here somewhere also, right? Oh, it's there. Walk right past it. What is a battle without sacrifice? Blah, blah, blah. So, well, let's do these first. Perhaps you need reflection. Cassia. CHARIA town or CHARIA town?
A shallow beauty, young and vain, she stared down at her mirrored face, the water's surface calm and cool, reflecting all her charm and grace. The boys would pass and call to her, but she would not look up to see, for though they all had pretty words, none were beautiful as she.
Arrogance and vanity walk hand in hand, yeah.
One evening she snuck out to think, but soon the town bells chimed aloud, and birds were flying in the night, back towards the town, a monstrous cloud. The town was soon engulfed in red. People shouted, children screamed, as fires continued to spread. Orange light atop the grasses gleamed. She cried out for her family, and thought to help, at first concerned, but knew the flames might mar her skin, so at the fork away she turned.
When faced with a dire situation, you see yourself more clearly than you would in any mirror.
After the fires were all put out, she slowly made her way to town, and saw the place her home had stood. The flames had burned it to the ground. A neighbor saw her standing there, and yelled at her. Where had she been? That night her parents stayed inside to search for her, and died within. From then on no one smiled at her, or even waved or called her name, and so alone she lived and died. Her beauty faded into shame.
Nice story. Very good. Vanity kills. Okay, that's the way out here. There's another message. Golden keys not shaped like keys, shining characters revealed by these. Guess that refers to the runes, or I don't know. Follow your heart if you have the heart to follow. Blah blah blah. Another one here. Time is a river that flows in one direction, but often pebbles become stuck on the riverbank. Okay, what is that supposed to mean? There's nothing here except Seraphine. in Novus Bay.
A bitter landscape, frosted white, she grew up in this icy cold. A glowing flame, her one refuge, in a place where most died before growing old. One day she lost her only child to the frozen winter winds, so for a time she lost herself and searched for answers deep within. But the fire in her spirit soared. Come spring she led her people out to a land with sun and trees, a place where fragile life could sprout.
When you lose yourself, helping others may help. No, when you lose yourself, helping others may help you find yourself once more.
She left their boats upon the beach, reminders of their journey down. With tall trees lining water's edge, a ray of sunlight cast a crown. The village ever looked to her for the strength she could impart, and in old age she died in peace. Her fire lived on inside their hearts.
Fire, and there's a torch. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think we have all the items in here. Next area. There's 8 runes necessary to open this door, but we have almost all of them. The last one is somewhere here, I think. Let's turn left. What is the value of life? Okay. Here, as you can see, we're only missing one V, the V. Know yourself as understanding what has been done. The lives you have led must join as one. I don't know if there's any consequence to you reading all the plates in the end. Maybe that is also an achievement. Not sure. The message was outside, I guess. Keona. NATIA village.
When she was but a little girl, she climbed her father's shoulders high to see the merchant ships sail in and watch their flags wave in the sky. She grew up strong and filled with love for every creature, big and small, for all the trees and flowers too, through summer, winter, spring and fall. Her village prospered from the trade of coconuts and other fruit, but one day she unveiled a truth that gave way to a great dispute.
No arrivals today. Very funny, guys. Yeah, you make me come out all the way just to tell me there's nothing. Thank you very much. Maybe I should turn the effects back up. Yep, that's better. Back and resume here. Some water. Back there was nothing.
Foreigners would come and go, providing silver and support, but secretly what they would do was hunt the wildlife for sport. She thought herself just so naive to think all people thought like her, and in her way she fought the trade of killing for just claws and fur.
The sun always sets on the good and the wicked.
Her actions came with hidden costs, with village leaders led by greed. Dark business they relied upon deafened them to hear her plead. She took matters into her hands and freed the animals from traps. A panther cub licked her in thanks, with healing leg all tied in wraps. She lived outside the village lines and snuck around at morning's light, but clever men then trapped her too. Their greedy eyes were her last sight.
What I also wanted to add is that if you find this boring, like if you're still watching, you might not find it as boring, but the thing is that you can do that at any time once you have the runes that you need to open these doors. And I found that it was actually a very nice distraction from solving these puzzles. Just come here and listen to a story. So I think they did a good job, the developers, with that. Yeah. When is coincidence no longer just that? Oren. LOSGANN Creek.
Once there was a gentle boy who loved to play with little frogs. Each day he'd watch them hop around atop the lily pads and logs.
People tend to jump to conclusions.
One day he tried to join them too. Being careful to step around, he'd hop onto a river rock and hop again back to the ground. For many months he jumped and played, until the time he slipped and fell. Yet no one noticed since that day. The frogs had disappeared as well.
And that's already the end of the story. I was just about to turn down the volume, but I don't need that anymore. So there's a frog. Okay, I think there's a rune somewhere here. Like, this is an indication that there is a pond nearby that you can jump into. What's going on here? I'm pretty sure you can get stuck in there, which is not good. And I have apples here. Maybe there are bananas somewhere I need to find. Wait, I can throw them in there, actually. In their mouth? No. Into the ice? They will just fall out at the bottom. No, also that doesn't work. It's not that easy to position them in the bowl. And the other one I just threw away, so I don't know. Where is that pond? It's up there, I think. Maybe it's in the next room. I can't get in there, so it can't be in there. Oh, there is water here. So I'm being respawned here. That's strange. Let's look at this message. Everyone has a story to tell. Sometimes you just have to listen. Does seeking wisdom make you wise? There is the one from the last room. Let's first look at Ibicus or Ibicus or whatever. NURIA.
His stories, known throughout the realm, beloved by people young and old, were tales finely rooted in truth, a poetry with purpose told. This storyteller lived for work, telling tales of courageous lives, of men and women who risked it all, even those who did not survive. From the time he was a little boy to the time his hair had turned to grey, he feverishly penned his words through the night and into day. Some friendships started here and there, but never lasted very long. With little time he had to spare, he much preferred his written song.
Reading is good for the mind, writing is good for the soul, friends are good for the heart. Blah blah.
And so his life went on like this, yet his own story never shined, for no one knew just who he was, only the words he left behind.
Okay. There is stuff here also. There is an achievement called banana. Maybe there's a banana that I just need to find and pick up somewhere. First, let's jump into this thing here and be teleported somewhere where we can get the final room. There it is. So where am I now? I need to get there. Nope, that's not it. But I'm down here now. I'm back here. That's strange. But okay. Let's just walk back, and it was there. So that's the final story, I think. Let's first read this message there. Ui. Time echoes. Okay. Sahara. In the BEDRIEG? Oh yeah, that's very bleak here.
She grew up on a pirate ship, taken when she was just 14. Her duties were to smile and dance, swab and polish, cook and clean. One day she caught the captain's eye. She smiled at him and he smiled back. 6 months later they were wed, though his heart was cold and black.
Okay, here we need to definitely turn down the volume again. That's enough. And let's have a look at this message here. To is human, to R is pirate. Ha ha ha. Like, what is the meaning of, like, why do you make me walk all this way for this nonsense?
She turned the pirates one by one to venerate her every wish, and within weeks the captain died, from poison slipped into his dish. From the discord she proclaimed that she would be their pirate queen, commanding them with love and strength, of which they had not before seen. For many years she ruled alone, plundering shores of nearby lands. Then one day they captured a man, his hair made up of golden strands. She ordered them to spare his life. An odd request they did obey, and over time she fell in love, little by little, day by day. She wed the man with golden hair, his smile sparkled in her eye, until one meal she fell quite ill, and watched that smile as she died.
That's also a nice story, actually. There are many forms of poison. Yeah. What is this? Like, why can't I open this and grab it later only? Is this a pirate's hat? Guess so, yeah. Oh, there's the teleport. Okay, we listened to all the stories. Let's check again if all the doors are opened. There's nothing else here, right? No. So, that's basically it already. Right? Okay. Here we have all the rooms now. And we did everything here also. Yeah. So, it's actually now time to go to the final stage of this game. Here it appears now, the last emblem. And with that you get to the final stage, like with... I found extremely complicated puzzles, but well, you can judge for yourself in my next video, when I will be solving those puzzles. Until then, I say goodbye and thanks for watching. Yeah, hope to see you around.